Hello students, in the last session we have studied about the ultrafiltration, tubular reabsorption and tubular secretion. That is, we have completed how urine is formed. Okay, so mechanism of urine formation mein we have completed three processes: ultrafiltration, tubular reabsorption and tubular secretion. Okay, got it. So there is one diagram which is given in the book, figure number 19.5. okay, so you have to draw the whole nephron and you have to just show the arrows by indicating which substances are reabsorbed in the blood. Okay, so arrow kahan pe jayega? It will be from the tubule in the peritubular capillaries. Okay, and tubular secretion, you have to show the arrow in opposite direction, that is from the peritubular capillaries in the tubule. So it's very well given in the book. I have already taught you in detail how tubular reabsorption and tubular secretion takes place in PCT and DCT as well as collecting duct. Okay, then we have also talked about how to maintain the osmolarity of the blood by loop of Henle's. Okay, so loop of Henle's is basically responsible for maintaining the water and salt balance. Okay, so we have done with everything. So separately I have drawn the diagram of PCT, then loop of Henle's, then DCT and collecting duct. Okay, got it. So only the thing you have to do, homework है आपके लिए कि figure number 19.5 आपको draw करना है and you have to indicate all the substances there in that diagram, which substances are reabsorbed and which substances are secreted, okay, in the tubule of the nephron. Okay, so please do the homework. Okay, and if any doubts you can clear on the group. So we have finished with mechanism of urine formation. Now we'll talk about the counter current mechanism. Okay, counter current mechanism is also known as counter current system. Okay, so what do you mean by counter current? Yesterday I have taught you about the loop of Henle's. Okay, so loop of Henle's में क्या होता है? Descending limb रहता है और ascending limb रहता है उसका. So descending limb of loop of Henle is reabsorbing water. It is permeable to water but impermeable to salts. Okay, ascending limb of loop of Henle is impermeable to water but permeable to salts. Okay, got it. And what is the direction of the nephric filtrate in the loop of Henle's? It is from downward, descending limb में direction देखो nephric filtrate का, it is in downward direction. And what is the direction of the nephric filtrate in ascending limb? It is in upward direction. So exactly opposite direction में flow हो रहा है nephric filtrate in the two limbs of the loop of Henle's. So that's why it is known as counter and that flow is there. So counter current. So all of you understood what is counter current? Counter current means opposite direction में flow हो रहा है nephric filtrate here. Okay, got it. So this counter current mechanism basically includes the nephric filtrate flow as well as flow of the blood in the vasa recta. Okay, got it. So vasa recta, all of you know very well, which is the nephron which is responsible for osmolarity, maintaining osmolarity as well as concentrating the urine, and for osmoregulation we have studied two types of nephron, cortical nephron and juxtamedullary nephron. Okay, so juxtamedullary nephron is responsible for osmoregulation. Why? Because juxtamedullary nephron का loop of Henle's बहुत ही बड़ा रहता है. So उसका loop of Henle will stretch from the outer medulla to the deep inner side of the medulla. And because of the long loop of Henle of juxtamedullary nephron, there will be maximum reabsorption of water and salts, thus maintaining osmolarity of the medulla. हमेशा याद रखो, osmolarity of medulla is high, and that has to be maintained. Okay, and it will be maintained because of the long loop of Henle's. Got it? So remember students, counter current mechanism is because of the which type of nephron? Juxtamedullary nephron. What is the reason behind that? Juxtamedullary nephron is having long loop of Henle. Okay, and around this long loop of Henle of juxtamedullary nephron, there is a blood vessel. Okay, there are many blood capillaries which will surround this loop of Henle of juxtamedullary nephron, and those blood capillaries which are running parallel to the descending limb and ascending limb of the loop of Henle's is known as vasa rectae. Okay, vasa rectae, we have drawn diagram of nephron, so you can just refer to the diagram. Okay, so vasa rectae पैरेलल जाता है लिम्स के साथ, कौन से लिम्ब के साथ? लूप ऑफ Henle's. ओके, गॉट इट. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ विच देर इज एक्सचेंज ऑफ द आयन्स बिटवीन vasa rectae and limbs of loop of Henle's, thus maintaining the concentration of salts in the medulla. So it maintains the concentration gradient in the medulla. Okay, so juxtamedullary nephron is firstly producing the concentration gradient. Okay, and secondly it is maintaining the concentration gradient. Okay, so now we'll study how exactly this happens, how the concentration gradient is produced and how the concentration gradient is maintained in the interstitium of renal medulla. Okay, so now here look at this. Counter current system consists of two parts. Okay, counter current multiplier, okay, and counter current exchanger. Counter current multiplier means what exactly happens here? There will be multiplication, that is increase in the number of ions in the interstitium of medulla, because of which ions बढ़ गए तो उसका osmolarity बढ़ेगा. Because what is osmolarity? Osmolarity is the concentration of solutes in the solution. Okay, medulla का interstitium में loop of Henle's है, बराबर. So loop of Henle's क्या कर रहा है? It will increase the salt concentration in the interstitium. Okay, got it? And thus there will be concentration gradient develop in the renal medulla. This is known as what? Counter current multiplier. So counter current mechanism का first part क्या है? Counter current multiplier. इसमें क्या याद रखना है आपको? Concentration gradient is produced in the renal medulla. And how it will be produced? It will be produced because of the release of salts from ascending limb of loop of Henle's. Okay, this is the ascending limb of loop of Henle's. Look at the diagram. Here what is coming out? Sodium chloride. Okay, that is salt is coming out. So ions, it is permeable to ions. So ion concentration will increase in the interstitium of the renal medulla. Okay, so ion का concentration medulla में बढ़ गया. इसका मतलब क्या produce हो गया? Concentration gradient is produced in the renal medulla. So what has multiplied in the renal medulla interstitium? Ions. आयंस का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन बढ़ रहा है, उसकी वजह से कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ग्रेडियंट डेवलप हुआ है. गॉट इट? सो दैट्स व्हाई इट इज़ नोन एज काउंटर करंट मल्टीप्लायर. ओके, मल्टीप्लिकेशन, इंक्रीज इन द आयनिक कॉन्सेंट्रेशन. ओके, सो आयनिक कॉन्सेंट्रेशन इंक्रीज हो रहा है, ये इस तरफ जा रहा है नेफ्रिक फिल्ट्रेट, यहाँ पे कॉन्सेंट्रेशन मेडुला का बढ़ गया. So these ions will move everywhere in the interstitium of the medulla. So concentration बढ़ने के कारण water which is there, it will come out from the descending limb. डिसेंडिंग लिम्ब में जो नेफ्रिक फिल्ट्रेट है उसमें का वाटर बाहर आएगा. ओके, all of you understood why descending limb of loop of Henle is permeable to water? Because ascending limb of loop of Henle is releasing salt. ओके, सॉल्ट रिलीज होने के कारण रीनल मेड्यूला कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड हो जाता है, उसका ऑस्मोलैरिटी बढ़ जाता है. एंड टू रेगुलेट द सॉल्ट एंड वाटर बैलेंस, दिस डिसेंडिंग लिम्ब ऑफ लूप ऑफ Henle will release water. Okay, and what is the direction of the nephric filtrate in both the limbs of the loop of Henle? Descending limb में नीचे की तरफ जा रहा है nephric filtrate, and ascending limb of loop of Henle is having nephric filtrate which is moving in upward direction. So counter current develop हो गया, and उसकी वजह से क्या हो रहा है, there is multiplication of the salts, that is increase in the concentration of the salts in renal medulla. Okay, got it? So that's why it is known as counter current multiplier. Counter current multiplier, opposite direction of the nephric filtrate in both the limbs, that's why counter current. Multiplier because it is increasing the salt concentration in the interstitium of renal medulla, that's why it is known as counter current multiplier. So I have written here what happens in this. It produces concentration gradient in the renal medulla, and it is formed due to juxtamedullary nephron. Why? Because juxtamedullary nephron is having long loop of Henle. So जितना long loop of Henle उतना salt का concentration ज़्यादा हो जाएगा medullary interstitium में, and because of which more of water will be released from the descending limb of the loop of Henle to maintain the water and salt balance. Okay, got it? So that's why juxtamedullary nephron plays very important role in counter current multiplication. Okay, now we'll talk about the another mechanism in counter current system. So counter current system और counter current mechanism में दो types है, counter current multiplier. We have finished with multiplier. Now we'll talk about the counter current exchanger. ओके, काउंटर करंट एक्सचेंजर ये क्यों रहना चाहिए? अभी ये जो मल्टीप्लायर में क्या हो रहा है, बेसिकली मल्टीप्लायर में सॉल्ट का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन रीनल मेड्यूला इंटरस्टिशियम में बढ़ गया है. ओके, सॉल्ट का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन रीनल इंटरस्टिशियम में बढ़ा तो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ग्रेडियंट डेवलप हुआ है, एंड वॉट एवर कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ग्रेडियंट विच इज़ डेवलप हियर, इट इज़ रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर release of the water from the descending limb to maintain water and salt balance. Okay, so ये जो ions ज़्यादा हो गए, this ions has to enter in the blood and from blood again in the loop of Henle. Okay, so how it will be taking place? It will be taking place because of the exchange of the ion between loop of Henle and vasa recti. Okay, vasa recti क्या है? Vasa recti are the blood vessels or else you can say blood capillaries which are running parallel to the loop of Henle. Okay, और वो blood capillaries and limbs of the loop of Henle में exchange होगा ions का, and because of the exchange of the ions there will be constant concentration gradient will be maintained. Okay, in the renal medulla. So renal medulla में जो osmolarity high रहता है तो वो high रहने के लिए ये exchange ज़रूरी है, and that's why vasa recti is also important. So in counter current exchanger you have to remember that loop of Henle as well as vasa recti both are playing very important role because there is exchange of the ions between the vasa recti and limbs of loop of Henle. And why it is there? To maintain the concentration gradient. Counter current multiplier में concentration gradient is produced और जो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ग्रेडियंट प्रोड्यूस हुआ है, आयंस ज़्यादा हुए हैं, वो हाई अमाउंट में रहने चाहिए मेडुला के इंटरस्टिशियम में, इसीलिए काउंटर करंट एक्सचेंज होता है. ओके, दैट्स वाई वासा रेक्टे इज नोन एज काउंटर करंट एक्सचेंजर बिकॉज इट इज एक्सचेंजिंग आयंस, ओके, बिटवीन ब्लड एंड nephric filtrate of the limbs of loop of Henle's. Okay, got it? So look at this diagram. This diagram is indicating counter current multiplication. Okay, so counter current multiplication में मैंने क्या बोला था आपको? This I have drawn the diagram wherein I have indicated the regions of the kidney. This is the cortex, which is the outer region of the kidney. This is the outer medulla and this is inner medulla. Okay, this is loop of Henle of juxtamedullary nephron. Juxtamedullary nephron का loop of Henle बहुत बड़ा रहता है. So here this is the PCT, part of the PCT. PCT में nephric filtrate का tonicity क्या रहता है? It is isotonic to the peritubular capillaries which are present surrounding the PCT. So peritubular capillaries में जो blood रहता है उसमें osmolarity क्या रहता है? 300 milliosmoles. So nephric filtrate which is present here in the PCT is having what osmolarity? 300 milliosmol per liter. Okay, and as this nephric filtrate, when it enters in the descending limb, osmolarity of the nephric filtrate will increase. Why it is increasing? Because of release of water. I have explained you why there is release of water. We'll come to know again here. Okay, 600 होता है, 800 होता है, जैसे जैसे नीचे जाता है वैसे वैसे वाटर का कॉन्सेंट्रेशन, वाटर का रिलीज होता है ज़्यादा एंड कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ द नेफ्रिक फिल्ट्रेट keep on increasing. So 800 से 1000 milliosmoles per liter हुआ and then 1200 milliosmoles. Means what is happening here? The nephric filtrate, as it is going down in the descending limb, it is becoming it is becoming what? Concentration of the nephric filtrate is increasing. Salt का concentration बढ़ रहा है, वाटर बाहर जा रहा है, आयंस ज़्यादा हो रहे हैं नेफ्रिक फिल्ट्रेट में, मीन्स इट इज़ बिकमिंग हाइपरटोनिक. ओके, सो सबसे हाइपरटोनिक नेफ्रिक फिल्ट्रेट वेयर इट विल बी देयर इन द लूप ऑफ Henle's, इन दिस लूप. ओके, बिकॉज इन दिस लूप व्हाट विल बी द osmolarity? It is 1200 milliosmoles. So 1200 milliosmoles सबसे मैक्सिमम है. So most hypertonic nephric filtrate is there in loop of Henle's, loop part of the loop of Henle's. Okay, got it? And now when this nephric filtrate enters the ascending limb, okay, what is happening? Ascending limb is permeable to salts and impermeable to water. So salts बाहर जाने लगेंगे. Salts means ions or else salt form में NaCl form में, नहीं तो Na positive Cl negative form में वो बाहर जाने लगेंगे. So these ions when they are moving out, what is going to happen? Salt concentration in the nephric filtrate will decrease. So 1200 से 1000, 1000 से 900, 800, 600, 400, 300. Okay, 300 means here again same as that of the blood osmolarity, and as it enters, when the nephric filtrate is entering in the DCT, osmolarity has decreased a lot. यहाँ पे 1200 था, यहाँ पे 200 आ गया. Okay, that means the nephric filtrate when it is entering the DCT, it is hypotonic. Hypotonic क्यों? Because salts बाहर चले गए और water का concentration बढ़ गया, means this has become dilute, hypotonic. Okay, and when this hypotonic nephric filtrate will enter in the DCT, due to conditional reabsorption, water will be reabsorbed. Okay, more of water will be reabsorbed, and likewise then concentrated urine will be released out. Then DCT leads to collecting duct. Collecting duct में भी क्या हो रहा है? Water is getting released. So water is getting released means here hypertonic urine will be produced. अभी यूरिन बोलेंगे उसको, because finally it is nephric filtrate is coming in the collecting duct, and collecting duct will reabsorb water. 90 to 95% water will be reabsorbed from the nephric filtrate. So concentrated urine will be formed in the collecting duct, and small amount of urea will be reabsorbed to maintain the osmolarity of blood. So all of you understood what is happening in the ascending limb. NaCl जाता है, किधर जाता है? medullary interstitium में, because of which concentration gradient is produced in the medullary interstitium, and concentration gradient बढ़ने के कारण, osmolarity increase होने के कारण water is lost from the descending limb. So in counter current multiplication, you have to remember that there is multiplication, that is increase in the ions of medullary interstitium, because of which concentration gradient is produced in medulla. Okay, so this is counter current multiplier. In the next lecture, we will be studying about counter current exchanger. For that, we will be drawing diagram of vasa rectae besides this limbs of loop of Henle's. Okay, thank you.